Hello, I'm Brandon Martini, a commercial pilot and flight instructor.
And I'm Carson Vasquez. I'm a private pilot.
And you're listening to the Aviation Mentors podcast, sponsored by Stratus Financial.
So buckle up, because the Aviation Mentors are taking off. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Aviation Mentors. Here we're live on the flight line over by all the Warbirds, and it's a pretty awesome area to be, and obviously I've stayed here for the last couple days. Just keep finding more and more cool airplanes and more cool people to talk to. And today we have a super awesome episode, and we have a great guest with us, Jack Schneider. You might have heard of him. He's Mr. Backyard Jet. Found a jet, and he's building it in his backyard, so we get to talk to him today. So thanks for being on with us today, Jack.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here.
So first thing we always ask on Aviation Mentors is, how old are you, where are you from, and how did you get into aviation?
Yeah, so I'm 23, originally from Kansas City, now in Wichita, Kansas. I got into aviation. It's just been a passion of mine ever since I was tiny. You know, my parents don't fly or anything like that. Don't really have much aviation in the family. But my dad did fly remote-controlled airplanes, so that might have sparked something. I don't know. But as soon as I was old enough to, I joined the Civil Air Patrol when I was 12, did my orientation flights for free, and then just kind of went from there, got my pilot's license as soon as I turned 17, and then eventually went to school and got my aerospace engineering degree, and now I'm just an engineer at Textron.
That's super cool. Where did you go for school?
I went to the University of Kansas.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So you've obviously been flying since you could.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
That's incredible. So you're around all these awesome airplanes, and you've been flying a lot of really cool things like the L-39.
Yep.
So how did you get into that airshow family? I know it's a pretty tight-knit group, so how did you get into that?
Yeah, so I am I'm not shy. Like I just walk up to people and say hey and start talking, and that's been incredibly helpful in the community. The way I met Martin, the guy with the L-39 that I get to go up in, is kind of funny actually. I had a filter set on ADS-B exchange or on Flight Radar to notify me anytime an L-39 flew in the area nearby me, and so I got an alert and started tracking this jet that kept going flying. And eventually was able to track down the phone number and reached out and said, hey, I'd love to come look at the jet sometime and, help you out with it if I can. And, one thing led to another, and now we're really good friends. And that kind of got me into the Jet Warbird community a little bit. And so I've gone flying with him a bunch. And that's kind of partly how I'm down here. It's kind of funny, too. It's a small world, a small community. And so I like to kind of make connections between people. So there's a company called Victory Aviation that has S211s, another, jet kind of like the L-39. And I reached out to them and said, hey, if you guys take me up, I'll, make a sponsored post for you guys. And they said, absolutely. So did some flying with Victory Aviation. I ended up introducing those guys to Martin, my friend with the L-39. And so we all became, buddies. And then those guys the Victory people know the guys with the MiG-23. So we started talking, and then turns out the L-39 is perfect for escorting the MiG-23. Since the MiG-23 is not IFR certified right now, the L-39 is, so they can go together and go through clouds and stuff. So anyways, long story short, I ended up flying a Bonanza full of baggage and parachutes and MiG-23 support equipment, and the L-39 ended up coming too, and the MiG-23, of course. So this is an interesting community. I love meeting people, and it's a long answer to a pretty short question, but that's kind of how I found myself in the Jet Warbird community. I've got some time in the, like I said, the S211, L-29, L-39. Really hoping my New Year's resolution is to get into something with Afterburner this year, and that's very, very hard to come by, but I'm working towards it.
I don't know if you listened to any of our episodes, but the start of this year, Brandon and I did an episode, and we were talking about all of our goals.
Yeah.
And getting something with an Afterburner was a little bit higher than the goals that we had set. So, I think you're doing pretty well.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. And just because I have that goal doesn't mean I'm going to obtain it. That's for sure. It's a very tricky thing to do, but I'm working towards it. And if not this year, if not the next year, if not the next year, it's going to be the year after that. I'm just going to keep pushing until I can, get a ride in one. And then eventually I want to own one as soon as I can. Be able to fly.
Those are lofty goals, but I think they're really attainable because you really made your own family.
No, I've been really fortunate to have made a lot of connections in the exactly the kind of stuff I want to be involved in. So
Yeah, that's absolutely the right way to do it. And in aviation, we always say like you just need to go and talk to people. You need to go meet people.
Yep.
Getting a job in aviation, you just need to go walk around the airport and talk to people. Don't be afraid to talk.
It's incredible the things I've been able to do because I just asked and introduced myself. In fact, the Bonanza I flew down here. It's kind of a long story, but so I'll just kind of be brief on it. But I did. I was just sitting around, similar situation. I got an alert on my phone that a turbine Bonanza was coming into the airport near me. And I wanted to see I thought I was talking about the turboprop version of the Bonanza, and I'd never gotten to see one. So I drove to the airport because I wanted to see this thing. Turns out it's actually just a turbocharged Bonanza, even though it said turbine on the app. So it's a turbocharged version. Anyways, met the guy and started talking to him. Went to dinner with him. Ended up going flying with him in his airplane the next day. And one thing led to another, and he said, "Hey, I have another Bonanza, the Debonair, and it's in New York. I'll fly you out there. Let you stay at my place and stuff, and then you can fly the airplane back. I'll pay for you to fly the airplane back to Kansas, and you can fly it all you want. Just pay for the avgas." That's been an incredible deal, and I have been flying that thing all over. And that all just happened because I went up to a guy and said, "Hey, I like your airplane," and started talking and offered to take him to dinner. Yeah, just not being afraid to ask people and meet people is the most important thing in making connections like that.
Yeah, I mean that's how I got you on the episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And asked.
Yep.
I'm gonna say no, but that's rare to happen in aviation.
Yep.
So many people love talking about
Absolutely, and you don't even need to just go up and ask. Just start making friends with them. You just be cool, and you don't be a complete geek. Your passion will come through if you're really passionate about aviation, and they'll see how passionate you are. But as long as you're able to talk and be a cool person, generally everybody else in aviation is cool. See what they can do for you.
Yeah, they'll let you in. So aside from the way that you got into aviation, there's something that you're pretty well known for now.
Yeah.
And that's the backyard jet.
Yep.
So let's start off with, how did you find that thing?
Yeah, so that actually happened just by chance. I was walking around, and I was driving around in Wichita, and I saw T-37 sitting in a junkyard, and I was like, I have to have it. It was not like a boneyard or anything like that. It's literally a junkyard with washing machines and all that.
Junk.
Yeah, just junk. And then there's just the jet. And so I was like, I have to have it. So ended up finding the owner of the junkyard. And it's kind of a sketchier part of town, actually. So I was out looking at the fence, looking at the jet. And the day before, somebody had stolen a bunch of stuff from him. So dude actually came out with a gun and, was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Again, like, "Get out of here." Because he thought I was trying to steal stuff. And I was like, no, I'm just interested in that airplane. He's like, "Oh, I got the number for the owner." So I ended up getting a hold of the owner, and then bought the jet for $2,500 delivered. And ever since, just been working on it. The plan is definitely not to fly it because I need a lot of stuff to do that. I need wings, a tail. People always think, "Oh, you're never going to get that flying," and they're right. I mean, I don't have a tail or wings or a second engine or avionics or all these things that you just can't buy at Walmart. But no, I'm just using it as a tool to learn. Having an engine is, enough to let me play with it and try and get it running. So that's what I'm doing. And the next jet will be more complete until I have something that's airworthy.
Well, the last thing I saw you were doing on that plane is you were using a leaf blower to spool the engine.
Yeah.
I saw that video.
Yep, that was just for fun. It's what the accessories all pulled off of it because I've got, most of the way apart right now. But with all the accessories off the engine, it spins very freely, which is kind of incredible considering it's been sitting outside for 30 years or whatever in the junkyard. But you just put a leaf blower in there and it spools right up.
So you found that engine with all the accessories on it?
The accessories for the engine itself. So that means like the starter generator, the hydraulic pump, the fuel pump, the fuel control unit, the oil pump, that kind of thing. It's all connected to the accessory drive, and the jet had that all there ready to go. So it's kind of part of the engine. The accessories, like you consider that part of the engine. The exciter box, just all the little things were all there, which is really helpful.
Well, I figured if it was just sitting in a junkyard, someone would have stripped it by now. But
nope,
it's great that you're able to find it pretty much all intact.
And it was actually used as an A&P trainer at some point, so they were using it for engine runs, and that's why it's all kind of cobbled together. And that's how it ended up in the junkyard.
That's pretty cool that you're able to find it, and you're putting so much work into it.
Yeah.
How do you have the knowledge to work on that?
Well, I mean, I did get my aerospace engineering degree, so I do know a thing or two about jet engines. Nothing crazy. I mean, I don't have any. I'm definitely not an expert, but I've just geeked out about it and read a lot of Wikipedia articles. It's also very simple. It's a lot more simple than people think. I would be more scared taking apart a car engine than I would be this jet engine because it's a single-stage compressor, single-stage turbine. It's really just like a big old turbocharger. So, yeah, it's really in trial and error, I have manuals for it, which is also very helpful. I found them online. I paid like $30 for manuals. So that's one way. But yeah, and the other thing is, I mean, in a lot of ways, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm learning as I go, and as I pull it apart and work on tools and parts that I don't have manuals for, it's just trial and error. And at the end of the day, a jet engine is going to run if it spins freely, and you can turn it fast, provide fuel, and provide a spark. And if you can do those things, it's going to run. At the end of the day, I said in one of my videos, a taser could be used to start a spark. That's easy. Everybody can make a taser, or everybody can buy a taser. So that's one thing. That's the first thing knocked out. Easy. Fuel, that's a little bit more tricky. You need to use I'm going to try and use the original engine's fuel control unit and fuel pump, but if that doesn't work, I'm just going to try and use an electric fuel pump. At the end of the day, all I need to do is squirt fuel into it somehow. That's also not that hard. The next thing is you need to spin it, which, thank goodness, I got the starter generator working with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. And so starter generator is working now, so I can turn it. Let's see, I've got 3 of the things done. That should be enough to get it to light off. If I can spin it fast, put fuel in it, and give it a spark, it should light. So all 3 of those things, when you break it down into its simplest components, it's really not that hard. A monkey could do it.
Well, I guess I'm not a monkey then, because I probably couldn't quite figure out.
No, seriously. I highly recommend buying your own jet engine. At least this one. This one's very simple. Some of them are more complicated. There's like pretty much no simpler jet engine than what I've got.
Well, it's pretty awesome. You have a good tool to work with to teach you a lot of different things that most people just wouldn't think about going and getting a jet engine that they can work on and fix.
It was just a coincidence that I saw it that day in the junkyard, and picked it up. I mean, I'm always looking for that kind of stuff. I hoard airplane parts. Seeing that in the junkyard is like, that's exactly what I want. And now I'm now looking for something more complete. I would like an intact. What I really want is a complete, something similar to like a MiG-21 single seater, ideally, because a 2-seater would be awesome, but the single seats are usually really cheap because people want to fix up the ones that are the 2-seaters. But single seater is hard to train in and stuff. So if I could find like a single seat MiG-21 that's been sitting in a field for 30 years, but still complete or close to it, that would be ideal. You could get that for probably next to nothing. I mean, some people might pay you to take it away from them. So that's really what I'm on the search for. So if anybody knows of anything like that, definitely find me and reach out.
Please reach out to us. We can help Jack get up in
there.
And so you're looking for something a little more complete, obviously.
Yeah.
But as far as this one, the T-37.
Yeah. Is that L-39 right there?
Yeah,
that's the one I came fly a bunch. Yep.
That's awesome.
There it is.
That's a pretty bird.
Yeah. Good timing. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So aside from that T-37, what does the timeline look like on finishing it? And I guess what does finishing really look like to you if you're not going to make it airworthy?
So I'm hoping to get it running within like 2 months or so. My schedule's been crazy busy. I've been traveling a bunch, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. So, I mean, who knows what will actually happen. I also am still working full-time, so it's not like I can just dedicate my whole life to it. But yeah, 2 months or so should be reasonable. Like I said, it's really not that hard to work on. After I get it running, or it might explode. That's a very real possibility. So it might just explode, and then I don't have a problem anymore because it's gone. But if it doesn't explode and it's running and everything, I think I might turn it into a trailer, the jet, make it into a trailer, and it'd be fun to take it to Oshkosh. I'd really like to take it to Oshkosh and show it off because, I mean, a lot of people have seen it. I mean, it's something like 250, 300 million people have seen it, or at least views-wise, and so I think it'd be fun to have it there. After that, might turn it into a rat rod if I have the time and money. And if not that, I might just sell it because, I mean, I'm sure I could find somebody who would also be able to enjoy it and then free up some space in my garage for more projects. So
maybe someone even has the other engine.
That'd be cool, yeah. Yeah, that would be really cool. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, sell it to somebody who's got a more complete airplane, yeah.
Well, it's pretty awesome goals. But besides for just that T-37, what do you have as goals for aviation? What do you want to do?
So I only have one goal. I've always only had one goal since I was like 5, and that's the fly fighter jets. That's it. I don't have any other goals. Everything I do is trying to get to that goal. I've had a bunch of surgeries on my leg, so that's why I'm not just in the Air Force. If it wasn't for my leg, I would have just joined and done ROTC and just be flying fighters right now, ideally. But, bad leg, and I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to fight the board and get past it. But if that doesn't work, I'm just going to have to buy my own. So, yeah, that's why I, wanted to buy the T-37 and learn how to work on it so I can move on to something more complicated and eventually buy my own fighter jet. I also have, the social media thing is, of course, very powerful. Helps me make money. It's going to be something that can help me afford a fighter jet because they're not cheap usually. Well, some of them are cheap, but not cheap to fly. Yeah, that's literally the only goal I have. And I'm just trying to work my way on up to A MiG-21 would be awesome. A MiG-23 like what we have here, they're for sale right now. So if I could make a lot of money, I could get one of those maybe. An F-5 would be my dream plane. F-5 is those usually run around $800K. MiG-21s you can get for $250K, like airworthy or less. I mean, you can probably find one for $100K airworthy if you look hard enough. You just need to have a lot of money for gas.
Well, they're
Yeah.
huge goals, but they're absolutely not impossible. And
Yeah.
especially if you're willing to put in the work. And like
Absolutely.
we said, at the beginning, just go and talk to people. That's the way you make connections in aviation.
Yep.
They're not going to come up to you. You have to go up to them. If they're sitting in their hangar, go talk to them.
Absolutely. And yeah, like you said, it seems like they're lofty goals, but really they're not that crazy. Believe it or not, I've learned from in the jet warbird community, like most of the people with jet warbirds that I've met are airline pilots. That's where they've made their money because, airline pilots make good money. And if you save up, it's not at all unreasonable. You can buy a L-39 for, nowadays they're getting pretty pricey, but $200,000 will still get you, maybe mid-level L-39. And, a lot of people spend $200,000 on a Lamborghini or a Ferrari all the time or a nice car. And so, if you just save your money and that's your passion, it's really, really obtainable.
And people that are interested in it are
Yeah.
just going and buying, spending 3 times as much and buying a brand new.
Exactly. Or even better than that, I'm actually looking at it right now. I want to buy a Fuga Magister, which is, I don't know if you're familiar, but it's another jet. There's actually one here. There was 2, but another similar jet. It actually uses the same engines as the T-37 too. It uses 2 Tweet engines basically. They're French versions, but same engine. So, but I've got one that I'm looking at for $50,000, and that's like, way less than a decent 172.
No,
so
that's
people,
a nice car.
to me, yeah, right, yeah. People spend a lot of money on, 172s. They just don't have the interest in that. I just want to buy a jet, and even if I can only afford to fly it, the thing people always say is, "Oh, it's so expensive to fly a jet," and yeah, it's true. But personally, I'd rather fly 1 hour in a T-37 or a L-39 or some sort of jet than 10 hours in a 172, and that's about the exchange rate. It's maybe you can consider it 10 hours to 1 hour, and all day long, I'd rather fly 1 hour in a jet than 10 hours in a 172. So it makes a lot of sense to me. That's different for everybody, but
but you'll be hard pressed to find someone that wouldn't look at one of these and say, "Wow, that's
right."
There's so many on show, so many people want to go and fly that."
Yep.
So yeah, it's not an incredibly insane goal.
Yeah, and people will pay for your gas all day long to ride with you. So you can, in theory, own the jet and not pay hardly anything for gas.
Yeah, it's awesome goals.
Yeah,
that's super cool to see you going for these.
Yeah.
And Jack, I really appreciate you being on with us.
Absolutely,
today.
yeah. Glad to be on.
Yeah, thanks. And as always, thank you so much for listening to us on Aviation Mentors. And Jack, would you like to plug your social medias?
Yeah. So you can find me, same username across platforms. It's JackSchneider17. That's just my name, Jack Schneider 17. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. I think that's it right now. But those are my platforms. So go check it out to stay up to date on the jet. And, I have a lot of crazy things planned for the summer, a lot of other crazy projects that I'm working on.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
As always, if you want to reach out to either one of us, you can reach us at Twitter or Instagram. You can reach me at Mr. Martini Guy, or you can reach Carson at Carson_AV17. And of course, as we prefer, reach us on our email, Brandon@aviationmentors.com or Carson@aviationmentors.com.
And as a wrap up for the day, remember, we're here to guide you in your aviation journey. So fly safe and enjoy the ride.